Over the last 80 years in the United States, there's been a consistent upward swing in anxiety and depression in American adults. What can we attribute this to, and can we change this? I'm Dr. John Bartemus, and I'm putting the pieces together to help you live a life at optimal. The word hysteria is defined as an uncontrollable outburst of emotion, often associated with irrationality. I believe the Hurricane Florence and the news related to that in Charlotte over this past week is a perfect example of hysteria driven by the media that is irrational. And if we look at the news in general, it's built around creating hysteria and creating fear about the future. Fear about the future is basically the definition of anxiety, and regret about the past leads to depression. So I believe anxiety and depression are on an upswing, partially related to the mainstream media always pumping us full of negativity and creating fear over things that should not be feared. So the anxiety created in the city of Charlotte over the last week over Hurricane Florence is a perfect example of what we're talking about. Because the news and meteorologists say, oh, it's going to be a Category 4, it's going to cause 40 inches of rainfall and up to 15 inches in Charlotte, and we're going to close schools and we have gyms open for refugees, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said before, on the coast, it was real. But even on the coast, they've downgraded it to Category 3, 2, 1, and now just a tropical storm. So even their predictions were wrong. So the hysteria and the anxiety created over the past week has likely led to flares and health issues in certain people because of something they feared that never actually became a reality. And this is the problem, because it's so easy for the media to create fear and create health challenges and health flares in these people, which then feeds back into the chronic health system and makes money for everybody, but it doesn't make anybody healthier. So we want to be wary of the news, especially in light of the fake news that was out this week of the Weather Channel bit where there was the reporter out in the hurricane force wind supposedly, and he's leaning the wrong way, and he throws a leaf up in the air and it blows that way, and if the wind was blowing against him that hard, he should have been leaning into the wind. Meanwhile, behind him, there's people walking around without coats on, totally fine. So a lot of this anxiety and hysteria is fabricated to create fear, create anxiety, sell products, and feed you into an unhealthy state, which feeds into the chronic disease system. So yes, the hurricane was real to those on the coast, but the city of Charlotte was a population-based study on how can we create fear and anxiety, sell products, and then nothing shows up, but those who had products to sell are looking pretty good.